Good evening, everyone. Broadcasting live from Stony Creek, Ontario, August 7th, 2015. Today we have another verse on metta, or not a verse, a passage. This one is actually one of the more popular passages. It may not be very well known in the West, but in Thailand and in Asia, some places they'll chant it. When I stayed at the Thai monastery in Los Angeles, they would chant this every day. Metaya bhikkhave ceto vimuttiya asevitaya bhavitaya bahudikataya jnanikataya vatukataya anuttitaya paricitaya susamaradaya. Sounds nice in the Pali. So here we have 11 ekadasani sangsa, without doubt. To 11 benefits. Anisangsa. So I saw people were asking what are the 11, because in the English it's not clear. But if you click on the link to the Pali, if you're using Firefox and you have the digital Pali reader installed, and on top of that you click on the link, it will take you to the Pali. And if you read that, you can see in the second paragraph it's clear. Of course, you have to also know Pali. A lot of ifs. Sukhang supati, one dreams or sleeps in happiness, because one is not bothered by guilt or remorse, hatred or fear. Sukhang patibujyati, one wakes up with happily, so doesn't wake up feeling guilty or bad about the things that they've done either. Napapakang supinang pasati, one doesn't see any evil dreams because one's mind is clear. Love is like this pure vibe that keeps your mind on a wavelength, on a positive wavelength, so the bad brain waves can't arise. The bad mental activity is quenched because the mental activity is on a positive level. I mean, there's probably a more organic way to explain it, but basically, it's like that. It's like a good vibes and good vibrations have the effect of focusing one's state of mind, so one doesn't see bad dreams either. Manusanang piyo hoti, one is dear to humans. Atmanusanang piyo hoti, one is dear to non-humans. Non-humans is usually, in modern times, they use the word to mean like ghosts or evil spirits. But amanusa could mean any non-human. Could mean animals. People who have love are very good with animals. People full of metta. You can often tell someone's love by how good they are with animals, how good they are with children, how good they are with animals. Usually you can't tell how good they are with ghosts or angels or so on. Not so easy. But Devata Rakhanti, the angels guard the person. They're guarded by angels. Angels see fit to guard because they appreciate the goodness of the person. They try to make sure that no harm comes to this being, apparently. Even though we can't normally see them, this apparently happens. Na sa agiwa wisangwa satangwa kamati. Fire, poison, and swords do not affect one. Do not affect one. Right? They're not the end terms, right? They can't penetrate. That's the meaning. Not for that person do agi, and not into that person do fire and poison and weapons enter. So a person with love, if they have this, remember we're talking here about Ceto Vimutti, which means a state of jhana, of intense, super, kind of super mundane concentration. It's still mundane, but it's beyond the sensual realm. So there's a state of vibration that is so intense that it actually takes one out of this sphere. And so the idea is that weapons don't even penetrate. You can get hit with a sword or shot with a gun. They talk about this in Thailand. It's possible for there's been cases where monks or meditators were shot with guns and it didn't hit them somehow. I mean, the truth of it is something else. But this is the idea. This is something apparently the Buddha said. Poison. If you're full of love, there's a strength of mind to it. So how many do we have? One, Sukhang Supati, dreams, sleeps in happiness. 2, wakes in happiness. 3, no evil dreams. 4, dear to humans. 5, dear to non-humans. 6, angels guard the person. 7, these things don't hurt the person. Tuvatang Chitang Samadhyati. Number 8, one gets a well-established concentration. Right? Mind concentrates at tuvata, it's quickly. The mind becomes concentrated quickly because one doesn't have to deal with negativity. The mind is full of positivity, wishing only good things. Positivity supports the mind. That's 8, right? 9, Mukhavarno Vipasidati, one has a radiant complexion. Number 10, one dies. What is it? Asamulho kalang karoti. One makes one's time means dies, makes an end to one's time. Asamulho, without confusion, unconfused, because the mind is so sharp and strong and focused, clearly aware of what is good. And if one doesn't further develop insight meditation, uttari apati vijanto, if one doesn't develop further, brahmaloku pagohoti, one is set to arise in the Brahmaloka. So yeah, love is a great thing. Love is awesome. It has these benefits. But there's clearly a limit to those benefits. Doesn't know how great they are. Finally, there's a provision that it can only lead so far. It leads to be born as a god or to arise in the Brahmaloka, which is still finite and still a part of samsara. Nonetheless, it's great and it's quite helpful in the practice of insight meditation. Today, it's fortuitous or serendipitous that this verse comes today. Today we were invited to for lunch at a restaurant in Erin Mills, I think, or somewhere Mississauga, Toronto area. And I wasn't really keen to go. I said, I got a call and said, hey, you want to go? I said, no, not really. But then I think I know what it was. I knew there was a monk who'd visited here, and he's such a kind monk, someone who's so full of love. You could just get a feeling for how kind he is. So that, well, if I don't go, it's going to be disappointing to him. And you see how great his love is able to manipulate people. Even without trying, he manipulates me into wanting to go because I wouldn't want to disappoint someone so full of love. So I went, and it turned out it was a meeting of many of the monks who had helped organize or been involved in the celebration of Wesak in Celebration Square in Mississauga in May. So I don't have any pictures, I don't think, but there's lots of pictures, I'm sure, up on Facebook by now. If you check out Bhante Sarnapala's page, I bet he's got some up. But it was awesome. There was so much, just in the short time that we were together for lunch, maybe 2 hours. There was such love and just kindness, and you get a sense of how great it is to be in good company, how great it is to be with people who have this love and this caring. And then you can also feel where there's not so much love. Like there are times where defilements arise, and so you get a sense, oh, well, that person, not really in the spirit, that kind of thing. And you can taste the difference, kind of different flavor to it. So there's never underestimate the power or the greatness of love. It's a wonderful thing and brings lots of benefits. So that's the Dhamma for today. Now we can get into some questions. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to stipulate that they should probably be about meditation, because I don't want to get overwhelmed here. So let's try to keep them to meditation questions. What do you do if you have a bad dream but cannot wake up? Well, the problem with dreaming is there's no mindfulness. The very ability that's required to grasp grasp what's happening and to experience it clearly and to realize this is a dream is generally lacking. You notice how as soon as you realize it's a dream, you wake up, I think, no? There are people, I guess, who have lucid dreams, but in that case, it's much less a dream. I don't know so much about lucid dreaming. Anyway, I don't know. I'd probably wake up. It's not that big of a deal. It happens. There's not much you can do about it. The more you meditate, the less you dream. Certainly the less bad dreams you have. Prevention. Prevent yourself from having the bad dreams in the first place. They're generally a sign of guilt or other negative mind states. So if you're listening, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to know what's going on here, we're actually asking, and we're doing the question thing in another place. We're doing questions at meditation.sirimangalo.org. And so I'm not answering questions on YouTube right now. I'm reading questions people are posting in our chat box, our shout box over at meditation.sirimangalo.org. but I'm also broadcasting simultaneously on YouTube, just because there's lots of people on YouTube. Do you recommend practice of the ability to lucid dream at will? No. No, I teach based on a specific meditation practice. I think there's a link. Yes, there's a link to the booklet up near the top of the page. So if you click on that link, you'll see what I recommend. Any advice for countering the attachment to the idea of progress in the meditation practice, or is such desire acceptable? It's acceptable, I'd say, in the beginning. It's in the end, you do away with it. In the beginning, you're doing everything wrong. In the end, you're just mindful. There's no countering. We're not in charge here that we can counter. We're just trying to dodge the bullets. Duck and weave, duck and weave. Not exactly duck and weave, like avoid, but be in the right place, in the right situation. Experience every experience with the right frame of mind, with a clear frame of mind. It's like dodging bullets in a sense. You dodge all the problems. It takes a lot of maneuvering, flexibility. Are there any landmarks besides Nibbana that one will continue on the right path in the next life? No, no. Yeah, there's one, and it's called Chula Sotapanna. If one attains at least the second stage of knowledge, the tradition goes that such a person will not be born in a bad state in their next life. Just as reaching the second, so understanding about seeing cause and effect, practicing meditation to the point where you experience cause and effect, and you're able to see how the body and the mind work together, and how good deeds lead to good results, bad deeds or bad mind states lead to bad results. How much control does a novice have over how much formal practice they can do? Or how much can a novice expect to be able to formally practice? I guess it sounds like you have the idea that Buddhism is somehow monolithic, uh, homogeneous. Every monastery you go to is different. You can't ask me that unless you're talking about coming here to ordain. So ordination is a vehicle. It depends very much what you do with it and where you go with it. And so, yeah, it depends also on your teachers. Maybe they make you sweep out the latrines every day. And sweep the forest. In Thailand, they like to sweep the forest. It's just one of the most absurd things to. We have a very different view from over here. They'll sweep out the entire forest, so there's no more leaves on the ground, and then they'll burn all the leaves. Keeps the snakes away, and the scorpions, I guess. Well, if you came to ordain here, you would have lots and lots of time to meditate, conceivably, because there's not much else to do. I mean, you could learn Pali. You could do Pali courses, and study you can do, but you certainly would have time to do courses. You'd be expected to do meditation courses regularly. Would you recommend to meditate right before going to bed for preventing bad dreams? Yeah, it's a good recommendation, I think. Can you talk about tensions in the body, especially in the jaw? Is it okay to let the jaw relax and have the mouth hang open when meditating? Yeah, sure. Your mouth dries, it tends to dry out if you do that, but you can let it relax, but maybe relaxed and closed is better. There's nothing wrong with tension, as long as you're able to maintain it. Hmm. Yeah, insects are a tough one. When I was in Sri Lanka, I had termites in my cave, and they got into my books and all my tent. They actually ate a hole through the bottom of the tent. There's a mosquito tent that I was sleeping in. I had to get at the books that were inside the tent. They weren't interested in the plastic, but it got in their way, so they just ate a hole through the bottom of the tent. And so I had to find a way to get them out of the cave. So what I did is I funneled them all into a jar, and then I took a funnel, another funnel. I went outside and found a place where the termites were, and I opened a little hole in it, and I funneled them all into the termite mound. Sorry, what's the question about the Vipassana retreat? I don't see the question exactly. Hoping I'd have a pro tip. I don't really know what a pro tip is. I mean, I can't recommend meditation courses in other traditions, so unless it's in our tradition, it's not really much I can say. You have to talk to people in that tradition. Except to say that, it's probably a good thing. But I can't say too much about other traditions. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you all for tuning in then. And keep up the practice. We'll see you again tomorrow. Right, good night.